She's ready to go. She's excited. Good afternoon, Georgia.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
I'm doing wonderful, doing wonderful. It is Thursday, and it's time for GA for Justice. Georgia Allen here from Virginia Beach, and I just want to bring you greetings on behalf of our weekly show and also on behalf of our engineer, director, business owner, Mr. One and Only Captain 85, who makes
Oh,
sure this happens week in and week out.
all righty then. I
And
got to
as
get
I
another hat.
and as I always share, we want to welcome our listening audience, those who are listening now, but also those who may listen later on this afternoon. And we always like to have a strong conversation for information, a conversation for correction, as well as a conversation for transformation. There's an awful lot going on all around the country, all around the nation, all around the world, and also right here in Hampton Roads. We're coming up on election time, and we want to make sure that everybody is ready to vote. And we want to make sure that you do your due diligence as it pertains to voting. It's not enough to wait for someone to tell you who to vote for. You also need to do your own research with regards to the many candidates. This year in the city of Virginia Beach, of course, we're going to have some changes. In the past, we had to vote for everybody on the ballot. But this year, we vote for the person in our specific district. This allows the voting population more leverage and the ability to select the person of their choice. In the past, people had to live in a district, but everybody in the city could vote for you. And what that did is it allowed people to put a ton of money into a race for a particular district. And ultimately, what we ended up with was a lot of the people lived in the same neighborhood. But because they may have run at large, or they may have been 1 inch across the line that caused them to be in a different district, it ultimately meant that there could be several people all living in the same neighborhood, just on a different street, and they were basically running the entire city of Virginia Beach, which is over 400 and some thousand people. That means there wasn't really truly one person, one vote. There was a situation where we had power money coming into our city, and ultimately there were a few people who paid for all of the votes. And so we, the people, didn't have any power. We, the people, really did not have a voice because most things were decided long before an election even ended. So we want to make sure that with district voting, that you're well informed and that you begin to leverage your power so that all the people don't come from business developers, all the people don't come from the financial areas of the community, all the people don't come from the same particular industry. And by people being more spread out, we now have opportunities to elect educators to city council. We have the opportunity to elect housewives to city council. We have the opportunity to elect persons from all walks of life to our city council because they no longer have to have thousands upon hundreds of thousands of dollars to run a race. If they are now in districts that only have about 48,000 people, but the voting population is only about 30 some thousand people. Whereas in the past, when you're in a city of over 400 and some thousand, over 450 plus thousand people, and your voting population is somewhere around 380,000 people, that's a lot of people to get to. That's a lot of money to pay for ads. That's a lot of money to pay for campaign signs to be placed all over an entire city the size of Virginia Beach. So now we have a better opportunity for the average person to select the candidate of their choice. So I'm excited about what's going on here in Virginia Beach. It took a minute to get here. There's been a fight in the city of Virginia Beach for quite some time with regards to the average person not really having a true voice. You can go down to city council meeting, and yes, we did. You could speak before the city council and the mayor, and yes, we did. But in most instances, they allowed you to talk, but nobody heard what you had to say because they were listening to someone who may have had $25,000 that they could put into their campaigns. Well, now everybody is on equal footing. So they may be able to put a lot of money in the campaign, but the candidate can now get to every single solitary person in their district for the most part. And if they can't personally get to them, they can have volunteers who can get to some of those people. And if that doesn't happen, they can now afford to mail out mailers to 30 some thousand people versus mailers to over 300 and some thousand. That's a big difference. Now putting out your signs in a smaller demographic area is a lot less expensive than putting signs in the around the entire city. So there's a lot of good things that are about to happen in the city of Virginia Beach. But in order for it to be effective, we need you to vote. In order for it to be effective, we need you to pick up the phone and call your friends and your relatives and tell them how important it is to vote here in Virginia Beach on November the 8th. It is critically important that those of you who are no longer able to vote because of certain things that may have taken place, you made a mistake when you were young, you lost your right to vote, it's more important than ever for you to call up every family member that you have, every friend that you have, your acquaintances, and tell them to vote on your behalf. So just because you can't vote does not mean you cannot encourage others to vote on your behalf, because the laws that are passed in Virginia Beach will affect you whether you have your rights or not. They will affect you. And so we want to make sure that everybody knows and everybody understands how important it is for everyone to vote in the city of Virginia Beach this year. So with that being said, I want to just tell you a little bit about our guest that's going to be on with me today. We have a very special guest. Her name is Donna Speller Turner. And Donna is someone who works with the National Kidney Foundation. Okay. Donna has been in the area for quite some time. She has worked in the area in many, many capacities. We are extremely pleased to have her come on with us today. She is someone that we know can provide valuable information to our community. Donna is going to be coming on with us at about 12:15 in another 5 minutes. But I did want to say a little bit about her and who she is, what she has done over the years here in Hampton Roads, and why it's important for us to make sure that we have persons from all walks of life so that information that we have, we don't keep it to ourselves, but we in fact make sure that information is passed on to each other. As a matter of fact, Donna was introduced to me by a young lady that I go to church with because she knew her from working with the Kidney Foundation. And so she said, I think you need to ask her to come on the show. And of course, like a good member of the community, when someone suggests that I bring someone on the show and I get information about them, I usually try to make sure that I bring on different persons so that we don't always have the same people on, but we also have people that can talk about different things and not all the same. Because as you know, I'm an activist. I love civil rights. I love voting. But we also have other issues that take place in our community. Anything from persons with kidney diseases to other medical issues, that is important that our community is aware of and aware of how to gain access to resources. Donna is a certified organizational development consultant, meeting and conference moderator, and expert meeting facilitator. She holds a master's degree in management with a concentration in organizational development and numerous OD related certifications. Donna enjoyed an amazing career with several federal agencies, including the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, also known as NASA, at Langley Research Center in Hampton, Virginia. Okay. Her diverse career experiences encouraged her to launch Advantage Business Strategies, Inc., a management and organizational development consultancy specializing in strategic planning, leadership development, inter-team dynamics, and creative problem solving. Currently, Donna is volunteering as the chair of the 2022 Hampton Roads Kidney Walk. In this capacity, she is providing leadership and oversight of the planning, strategy, and logistics for the walk. The Hampton Roads Kidney Walk is the only walk being held in Virginia this year and serves as a primary source of funding in support of the fight against kidney disease. Donna credits her strong work ethic to her mother, several high school teachers, and to mentors Gloria Champagne and Mary Jackson, two of the NASA's hidden figures, all of whom encouraged her to reach for the stars. I'm extremely thrilled and excited to have Donna come on with us today. And she is going to share more about the Kidney Foundation. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced a situation with someone having kidney issues or diabetes, any of those things, because a lot of them are interconnected. A lot of times people don't realize that if you have one disease, it can also cause you to have some other diseases. But I have personally witnessed a sister who had kidney disease and the problems that she had in terms of dialysis. I also have a nephew who suffers from kidney disease. So this is kind of personal to me because I've watched family members go through the process of having dialysis. So with that being said, I think she's waiting for us. And we're going to bring on Miss Donna Speller Turner. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Georgia. It's great to be here. And I am so excited to talk to everyone who is listening and watching today about the upcoming Kidney Walk. And I know you'll have some other questions for me now that I've mentioned hidden figures.
Just a few.
Just a few. So, but I'm excited to be here and share what I know about kidney health, kidney disease, and the things that we can do. I'm very, very a person who leans toward action. What can I do? I'm not so in the sky, pie in the sky. I'm very much boots on the ground. So I hope to be able to share some of that info.
Wonderful. Well, we're excited to have you, because we don't get a lot of people on that talk about some of the diseases. We had one young lady who came on and she talked about childhood cancer and how she's a mom's advocate. And we found that to be fascinating, the work that she's doing in the community. So I'm sure we're going to have a similar experience having you here to share with us what
Okay.
you do with the National Kidney Foundation. So, if you kind of share with us, how long have you worked with the Kidney Foundation?
So I started about 3.5 years ago. And as you mentioned, your friend and co churchgoer, Gina Owens, Gina asked me to serve on the board of the National Kidney Foundation serving Virginia. So the Kidney Foundation is broken up into different regions. And so I serve on the board of advisors for the region that services the state of Virginia. And I work with that board for almost 4 years. And one of the things that we do as a board is to make sure that people in the communities that we serve have that information about kidney disease, the resources that are available, and of course, fundraising.
Absolutely.
Fundraising. Yes, yes. So,
Absolutely.
and the offices are in Richmond. So once a month, I take the afternoon and drive up to Richmond to a board meeting. And of course, during COVID, we had virtual meetings. And we talk about what we have done in the previous month and what we can do going forward. And we are pretty focused on fundraising, but most boards are. It's a
Absolutely.
nonprofit, yes. So we are pretty focused on fundraising. I'm going to try not to be so focused on fundraising for this interview, but I will mention it once or twice.
And that's fine because
Okay.
we know that we cannot do all the things that we do unless we have funds to make it happen.
Correct.
And that's just, that's just part of life. So that
Yes.
is not a problem. I always like for people who come on, I like them to mention their name more than once
Okay.
because because constantly I'm listening to different shows, and I listened to this one show that I so wanted to know who the person was, but I got on late and they never mentioned the person's name the whole time I listened to it.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I was like, I really wanted to know who was on that show, and I never found out because they only mentioned it when I
When-
guess they first came on the air, and then that was
Yes.
it. And
Yes.
the individual talked the whole entire time, but never said, I'm this, I'm anything. So we try not to make that mistake because everybody doesn't turn on at the same time
Right.
every day. So share with the audience a little bit about things that people need to know, who may suffer from kidney disease and don't recognize it at first, but there are some uh, perhaps telltale signs that maybe they should kind of look out for.
So, first of all, let me make my major disclaimer that I am not a doctor or a medical person, but I do know a little bit about chronic kidney disease.
Okay.
And again, I have had a deep dive into the information about kidney disease since serving on the board. And it was very funny, Georgia, because I did not know that chronic kidney disease existed in my family until after started serving on the board. But
Mhm.
I have family members in South Carolina,
Oh, wow.
family members who came from Isle of Wight County
Mhm.
in Virginia, and on both sides there were incidences of chronic kidney disease. So I didn't know that until after I started serving. But right now, we are looking at a huge number, over 37 million Americans, and
Mm.
that's just the adults, suffer from some form of chronic kidney disease right now. And we also know that because this is a silent disease, so to speak, we don't always know when people, or we don't always know when we are developing any issues that are precursors to chronic kidney disease. And so we know also a big part around kidney disease in the US has to do with the disproportionate effect that kidney disease has on communities of color.
Mhm.
Now, there is, I want to say this right up front because I just learned this a couple of weeks ago. There is very amazing research that is going on right now about why, if you go into a dialysis unit, you see family members and folks who are related to each other in the dialysis units. So, those indicators led researchers and nephrologists, those, that's the word for doctors who specialize in kidney disease and kidney care, nephrologists. Um,
Nephrologist.
it led a team of doctors to start looking at the why. Why is it that kidney disease disproportionately affects members of communities of color? And some of the preliminary research says that there may be a gene, a genetic connection whereby people of color and people who are natives of the Caribbean islands have been shown to have that gene. And that would be why, particularly, this it's so interesting to me, particularly in the southeast of the United States. So the southeastern states, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, those areas, there is an even higher impact on communities of color in those in that section of the US and in the Caribbean, and it has been traced back to a genetic, well, a gene that these communities tend to carry, and that gene is a strong indicator in this preliminary research about kidney disease. So you also know that kidney disease um, is primarily caused, or we see a connection between diabetes,
Mhm.
high blood
Good
pressure,
cookie. Mhm.
or hypertension.
Mhm.
And those areas are responsible for over two-thirds of those who have chronic kidney disease. Now, I don't need to go into a lot of information about
Right.
diabetes and high blood pressure because we know what we know and we know who
Absolutely.
we know. And so many of us
Yes.
have either we are suffering from hypertension or high blood pressure, or we are suffering from diabetes or high blood sugar. We call it a number of things, but we know what the technical terms are, and we know that those two indicators, if you have those two or one of those, you are much more likely to develop chronic kidney disease. Um, and it can happen not just in adults, but we have many young people, children, who have chronic kidney disease. And I had no idea about that either. So this is, and from my perspective, this is, whoa, let's turn on these sirens and let's learn more about it and do what we can. So we know that people who have diabetes or people who have high blood pressure, people who have a family history of kidney failure, and of course, older people, all are more prone to have incidences or to develop chronic kidney disease. So again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm more about what can I do? What can people do? What can I share with people? So that was one of the reasons I was so happy to be invited on the show to talk about what can you do, not doom and gloom, but what can you do?
Absolutely. And I appreciate that because, like you, I have family members who suffer from hypertension, families who suffer from diabetes,
Hmm.
family members, I should say. And even chronic kidney disease, where, like I said earlier, I had a sister who had to go on dialysis. As a matter of fact, um, it can cause swelling. That was one of the things that was I was
Yes.
really shocked by, because she had to go to the hospital. And I went to the hospital and I asked them, what room was my sister in? And they told me, and I went down to the room and I looked and I was like, that's not my
My
sister.
sister. Yeah.
And I went back to the front desk and the lady looked at the name and she said, that is your sister. And I didn't recognize her. And that was the first time in my life that I had seen someone who experienced that type of swelling from kidney disease.
Hmm.
And so, of course, she was put on dialysis. She ultimately got to a point where, of course, the swelling went down and
Down. Hmm.
everything.
Hmm.
The biggest issue was trying to get her to eat better. And that's always an issue, is trying to get us to eat better and reduce certain types of food and certain types of intake. And I would tell her, I says, well, you can't have salt or you can't have this and all that. She was like, but the food tastes nasty. So she didn't want to eat it because she didn't think it tasted as good because it didn't have the salt in it. And she was an excellent cook. She ultimately began to be able to stay on her own again, but unfortunately, she did pass away
Mm.
from a massive stroke, which is the other thing a lot of times with kidney failure and with high
Yes.
blood pressure, hypertension, and yeah, and diabetes. A lot of times, regardless, any one of those can ultimately cause you to have a severe stroke. And so that's part of the reason why I'm happy that you're on, because people don't realize all the different things that tie into the kidney malfunctioning and all. And so it's important, and the fact that you mentioned children, if we can get it early, they can
Yes.
live a healthier and happier life. Again, I want to announce that we do have with us today Ms. Donna Speller Turner, and she's here to talk to us about the National Kidney Foundation. And I think there's an exciting event that is coming up very, very soon. You want to share
Yes.
with us about that
I
event?
most certainly do. I most certainly do.
Wonderful.
We have had 2 years, 2020 and 2021. We had 2 years of virtual kidney walks. Now, people ask all the time, what in the world is a kidney walk? Well, I
Mhm.
am here to tell you that a kidney walk is what is going to happen at Mount Trashmore
Oh,
on Sunday,
uh-huh.
October 16th of this year.
Wow.
The theme of this year's Kidney Walk is Together Again. This is our first in person walk after 2 years
Hmm.
of virtual walks. And a kidney walk is basically a family friendly way for those who have or want to support kidney research, kidney health,
Hmm.
kidney awareness. People come out and walk in support of family members who have chronic kidney disease. A lot of people come out and support in support of, and many people come and walk as a tribute to family or friends or
Hmm.
colleagues who have passed away due to kidney failure. But
Hmm.
it is a full day of the
Oh, really?
opportunity. Yes, we start at 10 o'clock in the morning
Uh-huh.
at the welcome tent. We have this year two routes to walk. And now this is not a competitive walk. We do not care how
Good.
long or how long it takes you to do it. We have a short route that is a little bit less than a half a mile. And all throughout that less than a half a mile, we have stations that are staffed by one of our larger Masonic lodges, the Prince Hall Lodge. But
Wonderful.
my goodness, they have come out and they have taken over the walk routes, all of the logistics and most of the volunteer work. And we have a long walk. And so those of you who are familiar with Mount Trashmore knows that there is the mountain, and then there is at the foot of the mountain, the lake. So the longer route is around the lake. And again, this is not competitive. We do not mind if you walk halfway and come back, or a quarter of the way and come back. What we want you to do is come out to Mount Trashmore on Sunday, October 16th. Come out around 9:45 or 10 o'clock. We have a full slate of fun things for families to do. For example, one of the things that we are really excited about is there is the idea that we may have an appearance by Sydney the Kidney.
Okay.
Sydney the
Wonderful.
Kidney is a character,
Uh-huh.
certainly supporting kidney health. And we will have many photo opportunities for Sydney to be in pictures with families who are walking, to pose with children. And perhaps there will be some of our older, more seasoned walkers who might like to sit down with Sydney and get a photo also. We have entertainment by a local dance troupe, the Copeland Queen School of Dance. We have, first of all, DJ No Sleep. DJ No Sleep will kick off the events a little bit early and get the crowd pumped up. We
Wonderful.
have uh, someone who is going to sing the national anthem after the colors are presented. Um, we have cheerleaders, Crossroads Cobra cheerleaders, who are
Awesome.
going to be standing along the short and the long walk routes and giving that cheerleader encouragement. We have some fabulous food trucks that are going to be out with a little bit of a tune up on their menus so that none of the food items are going to be too expensive. Is we want fundraising money to go to the fundraising National Kidney Foundation. So um, we have a food truck that is called Sunday Best Soul Food. And we have another food truck called Her Concessions that features loaded Nathan's hot dogs.
Mm,
Now, okay, so my favorite, I'm telling you right now, my favorite vendor is going to be the newest store opened of Nothing Bunt Cakes. Now, I don't know if anybody in the audience has sampled the Nothing Bunt Cakes, but they are small, one person or two person bunt cakes, and they come in a variety of flavors. And they are called what my mother called pat your feet cakes. Because when you get a
that
slice,
sounds wonderful.
you pat your foot as you eat that small slice. But more importantly, there will be health professionals there. So, Georgia, the health professionals from Centera, from one of our local nursing units, are going to be offering free blood pressure checks so that people will know, is my blood pressure high? Is it borderline? Am I within the recommended ranges? And what can I do about it? We will have a wide variety of print material so that people can get the information they need to do what they need to do to be more responsible about their own health.
And that
Now,
is wonderful. I mean,
yes.
this is really good. Now, are there going to be any vegetarian food trucks or out there
Well,
as well?
well, we are. trying to negotiate for a vegan food truck. Now, I don't know if you know or not, but the vegan food trucks in Hampton Roads are very popular,
Mhm.
and we are trying our best to get one of those. But the other food trucks have agreed that they will be mindful of the recommended diet items that are good for those people who may be developing hypertension or um, diabetes and so forth. So they will adjust their menus just a little bit, so that people will have some healthy choices. But I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm about what can I do? And I want to tell everybody who is looking and listening about a recommended easy way to ease into a better diet that is low in sodium, not zero,
Right.
not zero sodium, low in sodium. It's called the DASH diet, DASH. And that DASH diet, what that stands for is the dietary approaches to stop hypertension, which is one of the leading causes of kidney disease. Now, what is it? It's a diet that's rich in, and I know all of you are going to say, I have heard this before, but you're going to hear it again from Donna Speller Turner. Rich in fruits, rich in vegetables, low fat dairy products, whole grains, fish, poultry, beans, seeds, and nuts, low in sodium and salt, low in added sugars and sweets, low in fat and red meats. So I will tell you that I have been on this diet since February of 2009. And that was because I had an abundance of weight. I'll call it that, an abundance of weight. I
That's a
was a
good
little,
name. I
uh,
like that.
I was a
Abundance of
little
weight.
fluffier than I am now. And I will tell you that with my doctor's help,
Mhm.
I had started to develop hypertension. I had started to develop high blood sugar. And I had several other medical conditions. So, with my doctor's help and a team of nutritionists and others, I started this diet. And I'm happy to tell you that I have lost quite a bit of weight. I am not fluffy anymore. I'm just fluff, not fluffy, just fluff. But
I like that. I like that. I'm
I
going to use that.
that and I have maintained this eating plan. Actually, I actually cut out red meats because it wasn't agreeing with me. But I do eat fish and poultry, lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, and I actually had cut back to the point where I was having to actually add in a little bit of sodium because I had cut it all the way out, and that wasn't
That's not
appropriate for
healthy
me.
either.
Right, that wasn't appropriate for me.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
and I have been able to keep. I lost just about 100 pounds, and I've been able to keep that off, more or less. I'm gaining and losing the same 10 pounds over the last 10 years, but I am feeling a lot better, and no blood pressure problems, no high blood sugar. I am doing a lot better. My husband adopted the eating plan without. He didn't have any choice. He did. I'll just say that he
You were
didn't.
the cooker. You
Right.
were cooking, and so he ate what you
He
cooked.
had right, and he is down a little bit over 50 pounds, and we feel a lot better now. As older Americans and as older people of color, we were very cognizant of what you were talking about the impacts of this on family members, because you spoke very eloquently about how you were affected by your sister's condition. And those are the kinds of stories that we hear over and over. We want to do what we can, but it takes funding, fundraising, and we just want people to be more aware. So, this is a fundraising walk and an awareness walk. We want everybody to come out. Sunday, October 16th,
And
10
it
a.m.
starts at 10. And what
Starts
time
at
does it
10,
end?
about 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
And
So
we
it is a full day.
full
So
day.
that
Yes.
allows people to go to church and then come to the
Come.
walk after church
Yes.
as well. Okay.
Yes. Yes. And
Okay. Fantastic.
yeah, I'm really happy to also let you know that in the afternoon, we are going to have one of Hampton Roads' most popular jazz and R&B bands, Raw Jazz, and
Rogers.
they're going
Very
to be
familiar with
providing,
them.
yes, and they're going to be entertaining the crowd along with Sydney, the kidney,
Mhm.
and there may be a couple of other special characters out also. But we invite everyone to come. If you come, you do not absolutely need to walk. We invite you to walk, but you can come out, bring your bag chair or a blanket, but I'm more prone to sit in a chair. And just come on out and have a wonderful day in a beautiful park. Maybe get your picture taken with a special person, and just learn more. Visit the exhibits, visit the exhibitor booth, visit the Ask a Nurse booth, and just have a lot of fun. Learn something, become more aware, and begin to take those steps that you may need to take to gain or regain better health.
Well, Donna, I thank you so much. I just want to announce one more time who we have today. We have Donna Speller Turner. She is the chair 2022 Hampton Roads Kidney Walk. But I also want to mention that she's the principal. Advantage Business Strategies Inc. is her business. And I always like to let people, who do a lot of volunteer work. I know over the years I've done tons and tons of volunteer work, but you also have your own business. So share with the audience a little bit about your business and then close out with your final comments with regards to the kidney walk. Okay.
Okay, so you mentioned in my introduction, thank you for that nice intro. I have had an amazing career with NASA. I never thought that I would work for NASA. I mean, NASA. When I went to work there, I went in the years that Katherine Johnson was there. So we worked together for 8 years in the Central Scientific Computer Complex. My first 4 years there, I was mentored by Mary Jackson. Mary was a hidden figure. She was the one portrayed by Janelle Monáe. She
Okay.
had to go to court in order to go to school at night to become an engineer. And Mary was my tough love mentor. And I've had a couple of other very pivotal mentors. Advantage Business Strategies really is a management consulting organization. And what we do is work with for profit and mostly nonprofit organizations to help them to create a vision for their future. So that vision turns out to be their plan for the future. And then we help them to come up with strategies to get to where they want to be. So I work mostly with boards for nonprofits, and I am quasi semi trying to be retired. So
I
I
can
I
relate.
yes. And so we work with groups that want to make sure that their vision is clear of what they are doing and why, and that they develop the steps they take to achieve that vision. Um, my years at NASA allowed me to work with all kinds of people, the rocket scientists, the astronauts, the folks who have done all kinds of cutting edge and one of a kind things. So, my words that I always tell people, my words are always remain curious and use your creativity, because you usually can identify your situation or your problem very well. You also, with a little bit of coaching and support, can identify your solution. So you can easily say, ain't it awful? Here's my problem. but I can talk to you for a little bit and tell you about ways that you can identify your solution. So I'm available to talk with groups and teams. And again, this is my business. So it is a management consultancy. I'm not expensive. Um, and I do have availability for 2023 activities. So reach out and give me a call. I do want to also wrap up by telling you and everyone who is listening and looking, visit the Kidney Walk website at www.kidneywalk.org slash Hampton Roads. I want to repeat it, www.kidneywalk.org
Mhm.
slash Hampton Roads. You'll have all kinds of information, the agenda for the day, the what do you do, where do you park when you arrive, and bring your family out, bring your youngsters and your oldsters. Many people walk with their pets,
Mhm.
so come on out.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. It has been a pleasure to have you up here today. Uh, Kidney disease is a major issue in the Black community.
Yes,
Hypertension, major issue in the Black community. Diabetes, major issue in the Black community.
yes,
And all of those things somehow seem to continue to connect to each other and create major health issues and also early loss of life. I did not mention this, but my sister, the first sister that I lost, she died at age 48, and my dad, who also had hypertension, died at age 48.
oh
So, to the
my,
listening audience,
this is
have a
serious.
long life with your family and help
Yes,
them when they are struggling with these type
yes.
of medical issues. So, again, Donna Speller Turner, who is the chairperson this year of the 2020, the 2022 Kidney Walk at Mount Trashmore, October the 16th, starting at
Yes,
10 a.m. And if you
yes.
can't get there at 10, come after church, change your clothes, get into easy walking shoes,
Easy
and come
walking.
on out. It's from 10 until 4. So it's time for everyone to come throughout the day. If you can't come
Yes.
in the morning, maybe you can come at noon. If you can't come at noon, come at 2. And if you can't come at 2, come around 3 o'clock. But we want people to come out and
We do.
support. So
We do.
thank you again so much. We're so glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you for having me. This has been a real pleasure. And October 16th, 10 a.m., Mount Trashmore.
All right. Take care and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well,
Yeah,
that was interesting. How about
yeah,
that?
no doubt.
Always learning, always informing, always making sure that people have the information that they need to have a better life. So I'm so thrilled that we had the opportunity to meet Donna Speller Turner today and just to learn a little bit more about Kidney Foundation and you know that is operating right here in Hampton Roads. That those of you who may be familiar with persons either in your family or friends. Our pastor, our former pastor, I just recently found out he is now on dialysis. And so it's really important that we have access to this information so that we can do the things that are necessary to hopefully mitigate that as much as possible. So, again, I'm really pleased to have her here today. Do you have anything you want to share,
Oh
Henderson?
no, you're doing such a great job. Ain't no sense in me jumping in and messing it up.
Well, as always, as you noticed, we did our show a little differently today. We had a 15-minute opening, and then we invited our guests to come on. Our guests stayed for about 30 minutes, and we're going to do a little less, about an 8-minute closing. Want to just kind of remind everybody that it is election season. First day in person voting took place on September 23rd. In person voting, or early voting, as some people call it, ends on November the 5th. So if you have not voted, Now's the time to look and begin to vote. Election day is November the 8th, 2022. And guess what? Deadline for registering to vote in this year's election is October the 17th. Do not miss out on the opportunity to register to vote, but more importantly, vote, vote, vote. As some of you remember, I shared that I was serving on the interview committee for APAC. Well, APAC has made its endorsement, and I want to take the time to share with the audience who APAC endorsed this year. And I'm going to share first the city council and then the school board, but I'm going to share by district. So write these names down and identify what district you live in, and that can help you determine who you're going to vote for. So in the city of Virginia Beach, which is where I live, okay, District 1 endorsement by Virginia Beach APAC was Melissa Peck. Melissa Peck for District 1 City Council. For District 2, the endorsement is for Paul Tekamp. That's Telkamp, and that is District 2. Check where you live and determine who the APAC endorsed. District 4 is Dr. Amelia Ross Hammond, District 4. District 6, Worth Remick. That's the way his name is going to show up on the ballot. For District number 8, John Andrews. For District number 9, Josh Shulman. And for District number 10, Jennifer Rouse, Rouse. So, as I shared with you earlier, you have the opportunity to leverage your power because there are tons of people in this election process who have tons of money. If you want to show your power, vote against them. But also vote for the endorsed candidates by the Virginia Beach African American Political Action Council, Virginia Beach APAC, because these people interview these folks. I was on the interview panel, and believe me, I did not show any mercy. I don't care who it was. And this is how we ended up with the endorsements. For Virginia Beach School Board, District 2, Kim Melnick. And the reason why there is no one running in District 1 for Virginia Beach School Board is because on the city council is more or less a special election because the person who currently serves on city council in District 1 was an appointed position. So that person has to run in the fall. In the case of the school board, there were no appointed people. So therefore, there is no election for District 1. So again, District 2 is Kim Melnick. District 4, Stacy Martin. District 6, Sharon Felton. District 8, Carolyn Rye. District 9, Erica Guess. And District 10, and that is Mr. Kim Bentley II. And we say Mr. because when somebody says Kim, people immediately think it's going to be a female. But Kim Bentley II is actually a male. So again, I just want to let you know these are the endorsement by the Virginia Beach APAC. And if you want to know how you can help these people, I hope you wrote their names down. And if you didn't, I'll send these names to Henderson, so he'll have them. And I know him; he's a technology whiz. I'm not, which means he'll be able to actually put the names on the screen to let the community know that these are the names that have been endorsed. The reason why there was no one endorsed on the congressional level is we did not receive any information from either of the two candidates. So if you want to know more about the people who are running on the congressional level, I suggest that you contact Do the Right Thing or either of the two political parties or Google their names. And I'm not going to mention them today simply because I want to focus on the names that have been endorsed. And then that will allow you to be able to make an educated decision because you will have Googled, found out about them. There are people out here who can share information with regards to who the candidates are and what your concerns are, and they can maybe help you with regards to who is the person that's going to best work on the issues that are concerning to you. I have seen a lot of ads with regards to the candidates that are running primarily on the national level, which would be our congressional level. And I have made my choice with regards to who I will be voting for. I'm not going to share that today simply because, as I shared earlier, we're concentrating on Virginia Beach City Council and Virginia Beach School Board. Again, you get to vote for the person in your district. Take it seriously because who you put on city council will help determine whether or not we keep the districts in place. One of the things if you don't know, the council that they have now, we're willing to spend our tax dollars for an appeal and an appeal to avoid living by what the judge ruled regarding the civil rights case on voting rights. And so keep that in mind when you get ready to go to the polls. You want people who are concerned about you as an individual than they are concerned about whether or not they keep their seat on city council. So keep that in mind. When you're out there and you're looking at who's running and you're looking at what they stand for, make your decision wisely because this is going to affect your life. It's going to affect the life of your children. I have watched school board meetings and city council meetings, and I have watched members sitting on school board, and they were screaming as if they didn't realize that their job was supposed to be a professional job and that their job is also to be a guiding light, not someone sitting up there yelling and screaming because they want to get things their way. So I want you to be very careful as you're looking at who you're going to vote for in the fall. Vote for people who want the best for our community and not people who just want the best for themselves. So with that being said, we are coming up to the close of the show today. Again, I am Georgia Allen, and this is GA for Justice. We're here every Thursday at 12 o'clock noon. We invite you to come and watch us. We hope that the information we provide to you will be beneficial to you, beneficial to your family, and beneficial to your neighborhoods and your overall community. We look forward to seeing you again next week. And if there are any special topics that you'd like to see us talk about, please feel free to send us a message. Feel free to go on Facebook, YouTube, and some of the other social medias where you can find us right there. And, send us a message and say, hey, there's been something that's been, churning and burning in me. And I like to, have you talk about it. So with that being said, this is Georgia Allen. I'm signing off. GA for Justice every Thursday at 12 noon. Thank you.
All right, then. Until next week, you've been listening and watching GA for Justice on WBDM Radio. Until next week, goodbye.